All right, this is where it's at. This is the Central with me, JT, and thank you ever so much for joining me one more time. Much appreciated. Today, I've got nothing but the best for you in celebration of this, the Women's Month. It's such a pleasure to have you, and great news indeed. City of Light Private High School registration and admission opened for the year 2022, grade 8 to grade 11. And for more on that, we'll be talking on Monday midday with Pastor Edward Chivase, who's going to be giving us some more pointers with regard to the things that obviously you will be interested in. And further on, we're actually going to be going into also a personal space of mine that I love. I love people with their drive, of course, and nothing better than having a young lady, Viwe Gwegwana Mahlangabeza, born in Mdantsane, a very vibrant innovator with a personal drive for excellence. We're going to be talking to her about the kind of strides that she is making. Big ups to that and looking forward to that. And last but not least, great news for all of you who are aspiring to be on television and radio. Bataung Academy for Basic Television and Radio presenting course up and running from the 1st of September this current year 2021. Many possibilities about to open, and very much excited about that. And we've got a very special guest on the line following from the previous segment that we did on this, your favorite Central. We're coming back for more after this. Have you ever wondered why big and successful brands continue to pump millions and millions in their marketing and advertising campaigns? Well, there's a very simple and logical explanation for that. You see, every business exists to make profit. But you cannot talk about profits unless you have sales to show for it. You see, the more the number of people who know about your brand, the better the chances of increased sales and therefore better profit margins. What this means is 1% of every 100 people that know about your product equals one sale. But the same 1% for 10,000 people who know about your brand equals to 100 sales. But you see, with the presence of competition that is looking at the same market that you are targeting, you need to stick out like a sore thumb. And that's where Focus Media SA comes in. Now, if you want to increase your sales and therefore make your business stand out, Focus Media SA will attach wings to your brand. Call us now on 083-624-0123. That makes business sense. Welcome back to it. This is the Central. You are with me, JT, and thank you so much for continuing to join me on this particular platform. And now for the bottom line on this particular segment. According to the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, it is important for South Africans to stay educated on the importance of mental health care, since 1 in 3 South Africans will or do suffer from a mental illness at some point in their lifetime. Depression is a reality, and it's something that is actually going to be with us for quite a lot of time. And the thing that I love about, and this is what at the end of this particular segment, we should be in a position to know that indeed we can come out victorious. How we make use of the opportunities that are available for every single one of us to make sure that we do reach out and get the help, because there are institutions and organizations such as the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, and there are many others, of course, that are there to make sure that they lend a helping hand and they can support you through your hard time. Friends and family members, and make sure that you make use of someone that you trust in that particular regard. And now to talk about the far-reaching results of depression if it goes undetected and without support. With me, I have on the line Miss Marian Velem, who's just going to be sharing with us some of the personal experiences that she has actually come across. Miss Velem, thank you ever so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
It's really such a pleasure. Really, I appreciate your time to actually come and converse with us at this particular point in time. And this is at the back of the previous segment that we did on depression and abuse. And you did have a take on that particular video, and that's what we spoke about earlier on. Can you, for the benefit of our listeners, just bring us into your space as to what is your take on that very deep talk that we had with the anonymous caller at that particular time, ma'am?
One thing that I picked up is that, you know what, depression is real, and we can be in denial as much as we want, but depression is real, and we should not be embarrassed to seek help. We do it for ourselves, we do it for our kids that we are raising, we're doing it for the extended families.
And something that is very crucial about this, and as you correctly pointed out, that it's not only for ourselves as individuals, but it's also for other people as well.
Yes.
Because the reality of depression is that it doesn't really affect one person. It actually has, the effects that affect other people as well.
Yes, it can affect the entire household.
And part of the thing that I'm actually finding rather, disturbing is the fact that it doesn't seem to be that we are aware that really, depression is something that is creeping into many families and destroying lives. Is there anything in your opinion, in your view, that gives you reason to think that there is enough information out there about depression and anxiety?
Well, we haven't really taken time to educate ourselves about depression in South Africa, especially amongst us in the Black community, because you still find comments like, abantu bayonqena, abantu ba-sensitive, abantu ba-emotional, and it only hits you once you are facing it right in front of you, whereas whether it's you, a family member, or your own child that's dealing with it, then it opens your eyes totally.
And this is the thing. There is a research, the report that shows that women are actually twice more likely to be attacked by depression than men. And that's something that really got my attention with so many pressures. And I'm sure people that are listening out there, they would actually know that there's so many pressures that are on the shoulders of women. Could anything be done with this fact that these pressures that are actually and expectations that are on women can actually, if we bring them down, they can actually have some kind of an effect in terms of bringing down the numbers of the attacks of the depression?
As when with us women, it's hard because you will be going through something in your life, but then you are not just an individual, you are a mother, you are a wife, you're a sister, you're somebody's daughter. You don't get the chance to deal with whatever that you're dealing with at the particular time. You keep it moving, and then when it hits you, when all these things have collectively affected you, they knock you down, and then you get depressed. So maybe for men, they handle things differently. But with us women, we try so much to be strong because indeed we've been labeled as imbogot. So we take that literally, and we want to be so strong and not allow ourselves to feel and go through situations. And that's where it affects us the most.
And this is very interesting because sometimes the labels that we put on each other can actually become the very problem, even though that maybe the intention was good to actually, just, encourage us to say that women are this rock, when you strike a woman, you strike a rock. But the fact of the matter is that women are human beings.
Exactly.
Right. And having said that, look, we have talked earlier on about the effect that this not only has on the individual affected, but it does affect indirectly, and it has the same kind of traumatic ramifications and repercussions on other people as well. And you in particular have actually been exposed to that kind of a situation, as we talked about earlier on. Did you mind taking us through that experience? Because this actually brings the whole new leg altogether in terms of how actually this monster, for lack of a better word, is creeping into people's lives.
I got exposed to this mental health disorder when not so long ago my son lost a very close friend, a best friend at school. I was called by the school, please come get your son. He just received bad news. One of his classmates, which is his best friend, has passed away. The best friend had committed suicide 2 days before their grade 7 farewell merit award ceremony. And to watch your child being consumed by so much pain, it made me realize this thing is here. And I had to take him for counseling because he was not handling it very well. In class, he would try to cut his wrist with a scissor.
No.
And it was his way of coping. And thank you to therapy, it actually it actually opened my eyes, because you wonder, why do people slit their wrists? And then you realize, and then when my son explained, he said, "Mommy, I am trying to divert the pain from the heart to the physical, because in the heart it's more painful."
And this is actually rather sad what you are relating, and it's even more shocking to actually realize that you have one case that is already traumatic enough, and that one case now has the effect that it creates another trauma, which if it was not noticed, the second trauma would have actually given birth to a third trauma, and it would just be a domino effect like that.
Yep,
exactly. One thing that I find very interesting in what you are saying is then it opened your eyes.
It has.
What do you mean by it opened your eyes? I'm interested in that.
Because to think that the parents of that child that committed suicide, they didn't get a chance to have their eyes opened. You know, they stayed in the same house with the child, not knowing that the child is going through depression. There were no signs, no anything. Because they will be on gadgets the whole day, listening to music. You don't actually know that your child is going through something. I thank God, because my eyes were opened because of the behavior at the school that was being able to pick up that behavior and alert me on time. I wouldn't have had, it would have ended up as the same situation as his best friend.
And this is another thing, the other angle to it. And we have now moved from the fact that this affects an adult woman or an adult man. It actually creeps into kids as well. But what makes it even more interesting is what you're saying, which is a fact. Our kids these days, for lack of a better phrase, are raised by electronic gadgets.
Yep.
That becomes a problem on its own, and I'm trying to think if you have a child going to a gadget and facing the gadget all the time, there is a lot of information that they might be consuming that may be destructive to them, and in fact that's where a lot of bullying takes place as well. Many other expectations that are put on them and stuff like that. And as parents, if we don't find time to actually make time with our kids and begin to talk to our kids, get them time off of the electronic gadgets, it might just be preparing us, because I'm trying to think, what better way can we have our eyes open and be the wiser about what our kids are going through?
You know, that incident opened my eyes, as I said, and it made me realize that we need to spend more time with the kids. We need to have conversations with the kids. They need to be able to put words into their emotions instead of acting on them. Have an open relationship with your kids, where they can come to you with anything.
All right. Madam, I really want to thank you and really appreciate you for your take on this particular subject, and your experience has actually been, and I'm glad and I'm really grateful that you are not telling us that your son is late, but you're actually telling us that you actually had a close call, but thank God it didn't get to such a traumatic, like a full-on, a blown traumatic experience, and we're really grateful for that. And most definitely this will actually help a lot of us as parents to actually keep an eye out and really begin to listen to our children sometimes, because sometimes children feel like they're not being listened to.
True. That is very true. Thank you so much for having me. Much
pleasure. I actually appreciate you. Thank you ever so much, and everything of the best.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that's where we are going to end it there with Miss Marianne Velem. As you have heard for yourself, depression is real. The effects thereof are very serious and are far-reaching. We need to take a stand and do something about it. Please make sure that you make use of the numbers that are appearing on your screen right now. If you know anybody that is going through some time, we don't have to be all experts. There are people who are trained in this particular field and who are specializing and are actually just there to provide that kind of professional advice and support to people that may need it. A lot of these services are actually free of charge and they're available in our area. So having said that, it is going to be a mission of mine. In fact, it's already begun being a mission of mine that very soon we will be dealing and talking with a representative from the South African depression and anxiety group, so that we can actually even get to go deeper into what are the things that we should look out for and make sure that we spot disaster from a very far distance before it comes into contact with people, and some of the nuggets and the advices that we may actually find useful to keep ourselves abreast to what is happening and be alert and be awake to the pandemic called depression. As they say, this is a silent killer. So we're going to do that. So please make this particular number to be close to yourself. 0800 567 567. That's a very simple number to memorize. Make sure that you take care of people around you. Show some love, speak some positive words to people, encourage people, and learn to lend an ear. Listen, some people just need to be listened to. That's all they need. Having said that, thank you ever so much once again for joining me. This is The Central with me, JT, powered by Focus Media SA. We'll see you again next time. God bless.